I don't. I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay, this is my second video. I'm reading. This is the fifth part of the Color Magic. Um, it offered. No, wait, hold on. There were no other branches. The smooth bark beside him offered no handholds. It. No, that's what it says. It offered hands, though. Two were even now thrusting through the mossy bark beside him. Some hands, green as young leaves. Then a shapely arm followed. Then a hamadryad. Oh, a dryad. Oh. Leaned right out and grasped the astonished wizard firmly, and, with that vegetable strength that can send roots questing into rock, drew him into the tree. The solid bark parted like a mist, closed like a clam. Death watched impassively. He glanced at the cloud of mayflies that were dancing their joyful zigzags near his skull. He snapped his fingers. The insects fell out of the air, but somehow it wasn't quite the same. Okay. Wait, what? Blind Io. Okay, now we're. That's one of the gods, right? Pushed his sack of chips across the table, glowered through such of his eyes that were currently in the room, and strode out. A few demigods tittered. At least Offler had taken the loss of a perfectly good troll with precise, if somewhat. Oh, this. So the game they're playing is absolutely affecting everything in the Discworld. Okay, hold on. The lady's last opponent shifted his seat until he faced her across the board. Lord, she said politely. Lady, he acknowledged. Their eyes met. He was a taciturn god. It was said that he had arrived in the Discworld after some terrible and mysterious incident in another eventuality. It is, of course, the privilege of gods to control their apparent outward form, even other gods. The fate of the Discworld was currently a kindly man in late middle age, graying hair, brushed neatly around features that a maiden would confidently proffer a glass of small beer to, should they appear at her back door. It was a face a kindly youth would gladly help over a stile. Except for his eyes, of course. No deity can disguise the manner and nature of his eyes. The nature of the two eyes of the fate of the Discworld was this, that while at a mere glance they were simply dark, a closer look would reveal, too late, that there were but holes opening onto a blackness so remote, so deep that the watcher would feel himself inexorably drawn into the twin pools of infinite night and their terrible wheeling stars. The lady coughed politely and laid 21 white chips on the table. Then, from her robe, she took another chip, silvery and translucent and twice the size of the others. The soul of a true hero always finds a better rate of exchange and is valued highly by the gods. Fate raised an eyebrow. And no cheating, lady, he said. But who could cheat fate? She asked. He shrugged. No one. Yet everyone tries. And yet again, I believe I felt you giving me a little assistance against the others. But of course, so that the end game could be the sweeter, lady. And now, he reached into his gaming box and brought forth a piece, setting it down onto the board with a satisfied air. The watching deities gave a collective sigh. Even the lady was momentarily taken aback. It was certainly ugly. The carving was uncertain, as if the craftsman's hands were shaking in horror of the thing taking shape under his reluctant fingers. What is this going to be? It seemed to be all suckers and tentacles and mandibles, the lady observed, and one great eye. It was I thought such as he died out at the beginnings of time, she said. Mayhap our necrotic friend was loath even to go near this one, laughed Fate. He was enjoying himself. It should never have been spawned. Nevertheless, said Fate gnomically, he scooped the dice into their unusual box and then glanced up at her. Unless, he added, you wish to resign? She shook her head. Play, she said. You can match my stake? Play. What the fuck are they... Rincewind knew what was inside trees. Wood, sap, possibly squirrels. Not a palace. Still, the cushions underneath him were definitely softer than wood. The wine in the wooden cup beside him was much tastier than sap, and there could be absolutely no comparison between a squirrel and the girl sitting before him, clasping her knees and watching him thoughtfully, unless mention was made of certain hints of furriness. The room was high and wide and lit with a soft yellow light, which came from no particular source that Rincewind could identify. Through gnarled and knotted archways he could see other rooms and what looked like a very large winding staircase, and it had looked a perfectly normal tree from the outside, too. The girl was green, flesh green. Rincewind could be absolutely certain about that, because all she was wearing was a medallion around her neck. Her long hair had a faintly mossy look about it. Her eyes had no pupils and were a luminous green. Rincewind wished he had paid more attention to anthropology lectures at university. She said nothing, apart from indicating the couch and offering him the wine she had, as she had done no more than sit watching him, occasionally rubbing a deep scratch on her arm. So she's a, what was it, Hamadryad? That's kind of like a nymph, like a tree nymph? Let's see. Rincewind hurriedly recalled that a dryad was so linked to her tree that she suffered wounds in sympathy. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, he said quickly. It was just an accident. I mean, there were these wolves and you had to climb my tree, and I rescued you, said the dryad smoothly. How lucky for you, and for your friend, perhaps? Friend? The little man with the magic box, said the dryad. Oh, sure, him, said Rincewind vaguely. Yeah, I hope he's okay. He needs your help. He usually does. Did he make it to a tree, too? He made it to the temple of Bel Shamharath. Rincewind choked on his wine. His ears tried to crawl into his head in terror of the syllables they had just heard. The Soul Eater. How much do you want to bet that that is that horrible creature that fate put on the game board? Before he could stop them, the memories came galloping back. Once, while a student of practical magic at Unseen University, and for a bet, he'd slipped into the little room off the main library, the room with walls covered in protective lead pentagrams, the room no one was allowed to occupy for more than 4 minutes and 32 seconds, which is a figure arrived at after 200 years of cautious experimentation. He had gingerly opened the book, which was chained to the octagon pedestal in the middle of the rune-strewn floor, not lest someone steal it, but lest it escape, for it was the octavo, so full of magic that it had its own vague sentience. One spell had indeed leapt from the crackling pages and lodged itself in the dark recesses of his brain. We knew that. And apart from knowing that it was one of the 8 great spells, no one would know which one until he said it. Even Rincewind did not. But he could feel it sometimes sliding out of sight behind his ego, biding its time. On the front of the octavo had been a representation of Bel Shamharath. He was not evil, for even evil has a certain vitality. Bel Shamharath was the flip side of the coin of which good and evil are but one side. Oh, the Soul Eater. His number lieth between 7 and 9. It is twice 4. Rincewind quoted, his mind frozen with fear. Oh, no. Where's the temple? Hobward, toward the center of the forest, said the dryad. It is very old. But who would be so stupid as to worship him? I mean, devils, yes, but he's the Soul Eater. There were certain advantages, and the race that used to live in these parts had strange notions. What happened to them, then? I did say they used to live in these parts. The dryad stood up and stretched out her hand. Come. I am Juele. Come with me and watch your friend's fate. It should be interesting. I am not sure that, began Rincewind. The dryad turned her green eyes on him. Do you believe you have a choice, she asked. Holy fuck. What is this? Oh my god. Well, this is really exciting. I'm gonna go write about it.